All right, we were all listening, we were all watching. The White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney confirmed that President Trump froze military aid to Ukraine in part to pressure the country into investigating Democrats. Then hours later, Mulvaney tried to walk that back, and after confirming there was a quid pro quo, he denied it. All this was going on when the former ambassador to the EU, Ambassador Gordon Sondland, was testifying or speaking to members of Congress in this impeachment inquiry. I want to bring in Congresswoman Jackie Speier. She sits on the House Intelligence and Oversight Committee. She was in that testimony. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being with us. Broadly speaking, what did you learn from Ambassador Sondland?
Well, I think what we learned from the ambassador is that he was like the enabler. It was like the drunk who tells you that you should go out and buy him another bottle of bourbon, and you do it. He testified to the fact that he knew these things were wrong, but he went ahead and did them anyway. So he was one of those many people within this administration that knows that something is wrong, but does it anyway.
Enable what exactly?
Well, certainly what we are finding out now is that the whole effort to try and get a phone call with President Trump and President Zelensky that took months and months and so many hundreds of hours of back and forth. And it started out, as he put it at one point, he said it was insidious, that it went from a call, no preconditions, to a call with conditions that he talk about corruption, to a call that he talk about both Biden and the 2016 election. You know, the president kept ratcheting up what the conditions were before he would have a conversation.
The conditions, just so I understand it, Gordon Sondland testified that it was Burisma, but he claimed he didn't know there was a Biden connection there, right? Because you just said that Biden was a precondition of the phone call.
Correct. But the truth is that it was blaring all over the television and the tweets by both Rudy Giuliani and others.
So we heard Mick Mulvaney admit yesterday, and he was proud of the admission, and he made it several times over the course of this news conference, that yes, there may have been a quid pro quo, but it had to do, he suggested, with the investigation of the 2016 election, and insofar as that, in his mind, was connected to corruption. He said it wasn't a quid pro quo for investigating Joe Biden. What does that matter? What does that distinction matter to you?
None of it matters. I mean, they keep twisting the truth, the whistleblowers' truth, and it is not serving them well. I mean, the fact that he blurted out, "Get over it," suggests to all of us what we need to know. I mean, this is an administration that is going into a death spiral, and it's time for the Republicans in Congress to recognize the corrupt enterprise that is going on in the White House and call it out.
I asked Ro Khanna if earlier today if he had heard everything he needed to in order to cast a vote for impeachment. Are you ready to vote on it?
I'm ready to vote on it. I don't think there's any question in my mind or most people's minds, but I will say that we will continue to do our due diligence and put all of the facts on the table so that all the members, both Republicans and Democrats, have the benefit of a fulsome investigation.
Okay, all the facts on the table, fulsome investigation, ready to vote, because I have been hearing from Republicans, and so have you, because they say it publicly, who say, how can we vote on this unless we see the transcripts of these inquiries that are going on behind closed doors? Do you feel that the transcript of this testimony that you're hearing, because you're part of these committees, needs to be released to the full Congress?
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's every intention to do that, maybe with redactions for anything that is classified or personally identifiable information. But no, I don't think there's any question that this information needs to be released. The reason why we're doing these interviews behind closed doors is so that we can get truth. You know, if everyone is allowed to kind of come up with a script that they're all going to say, then we're not going to find out the truth.
So you're not releasing the transcripts concurrently. Why? Because
we want to wait until we have interviewed everyone, and then we will start, I believe, I certainly would support releasing the transcripts at that time. And certainly before all of this information is turned over to the Judiciary Committee, and they contemplate whether or not articles of impeachment are appropriate.
The Washington Post is reporting this morning, and this has to do with the testimony going behind closed doors, that George Kent a State Department official who testified to you. I'm losing track of the days. I think it was 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
I can't remember.
I know. They're reporting that George Kent told people asking him questions, members of Congress, that he had raised concerns about Hunter Biden's position on the board of Burisma back in 2015 during the Obama administration. This is in the Washington Post story. Can you confirm that he testified to that?
No, I can't confirm whether or not he testified to that. But I would like to point out that we've talked now to a number of Foreign Service professionals, career persons serving in our State Department, 37 years, 34 years, 27 years, all of whom are really pained by the fact that it has been politicized, that they have worked for Republican and Democratic presidents in their many long careers, and there's never been this kind of corrupt politicization of that particular department.
What's the one fact that you want to get confirmed, or the one thing you want to hear more about as you talk to more witnesses?
I think what's going to be important to us as we move forward is to drill down on many of these conversations that took place. We're hearing conflicting recall of what actually took place. So I think getting more certitude in that regard is going to be helpful to us. But I think it's pretty clear now. We have basically a whistleblower who gave us a roadmap, and now we have the President of the United States driving down these roads to the various crime scenes. And I think all that's happened in just really the last 3 or 4 weeks is pretty compelling.
Congresswoman Jackie Speier, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, John.
Allison?
All right, John.